I have a few months of work to update you on in this video. First, we're going to get the exhaust installed. Need to do a bit of fabrication to make that fit on this car. I finished up the diff cooler install, filled the diff with oil, primed the system. The video of that really did not turn out good, so I'm not going to show any of that. If you're interested in anything about the diff cooler, post a comment and I'll see if I can put something together. Let's see, I changed the oil in the engine and the trans. Don't have any video of that. What else? So we're also going to set the ride height and do an alignment. And then we get the car on the ground and it's ready to drive. So there'll be a fair amount of time lapse working on the car. So let's get started and knock this out. Alright, this is the Bassani 3-inch exhaust kit for 99 to 04 Cobras, or in my case, 96 Mustang GT with an IRS swap. So this kit that I have is a full 3-inch up to the collector here where it necks down. On my car I have full length headers, but the H pipe is 2.5 inches. So if I ever make any changes in the future and go to a full 3-inch, all I have to swap out is that one piece. Cool thing with these Bassanis is you can see in there it's got a resonator, not exactly like a muffler, but it will quiet it a little bit, and with just one screw you can pop that out. So pretty nice looking setup. I'm excited to get it on the car and see what it sounds like. I absolutely love this MAF rear bumper. At some point I hope to get one for the front as well, but that's a future project. But one of the challenges that you'll have is there's no provisions for the tailpipe mount. So you have to fabricate something, assuming you want to run tailpipes. So my fabrication skills aren't really anything to speak of, but basically I just got some tube and some plate and welded that in. It looks pretty good. I'll maybe take you through the journey on the other side, or at least show you the results on the other side. On a 99 and up car, you won't have that problem because this exhaust hanger mounts, if you aren't using a bumper, the exhaust hanger mounts there. On 94 to 98 cars, if you're trying to run an IRS exhaust, the factory rear bumper doesn't have provisions, so you'll have to drill some holes, put some riv nuts or something in there. Alright, so let's finish installing the side and I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'll try to video some of doing the other side. All right, I went down a bit of a scope creep on the car, so I haven't done a lot. I've always wanted to design and fabricate my own short, long arm front suspension. I got about 90% there, and then realized just the time that I'm putting into this, it's taking too long for the amount of free time that I have. So I'm parking that yet again. This has been an on and off project for 8 years. Like I said, 90% there. It's really, really close. I got all the geometries down, just fabricating some of the last bits. That said, switching back to the Maximum Motorsport setup on the front. Got it mostly reinstalled. At this point, I just need to set the ride heights, front and rear. I need to shift some of the, I don't know what they're called, bushings at the top of the strut on one side to make sure they match on both sides. So nothing terribly exciting. I don't know that I'm going to film a whole lot of that, but the general idea is in the front, I want the control arms level with the ground, and that pretty much dictates the ride height, and then I'll set the rear to match that so it looks about right. Once I get that, alignment in the front, the back's done, and oil change, and I think we're ready to take it around the block. We're pretty good. All right, thanks. So I'll come back after I've got the ride height set and you can see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Okay, I've got the front ride height set how I want it. I misspoke when I did the intro. I actually don't have the control arms parallel with the ground. I have them pointing down slightly. Here's probably a good place for me to insert a little voiceover explanation and show some of the geometry there. Okay, so here's the simplified view looking from the front onto a vehicle, tire on either side, lower control arm, and a McPherson strut. Next slide, zooming in on just one of the wheels, McPherson strut and control arms. And now just focusing on the control arm. You can see the inner pivot and the ball joint. So as the ball joint moves up, when it starts off angled down, as it moves up to parallel with the ground, the ball joint actually moves outward a little bit. And kind of hard to tell in this picture. It's, anyway, the scale of things. And we're not talking about a lot of change, but it is moving out just a little bit, and that increases negative camber, which is good. So when the car rolls over on that side, it increases negative camber just a little bit, and helps improve your contact patch. So that's why you want your front control arms angled down slightly. So I've got the toe set how I want it, or at least pretty close enough to go down the road. Ride height in the front is set, still need to do the back. The camber is honestly a little bit more than I want. Let's see if we can focus on the caster camber plates. So I've got these as far out as they'll go in this setting, and I'm at about -2 degrees. You can flip the top plate from side to side and get less camber, but then I don't think I'm going to get as much camber as I want. So yeah, that's that. You can see my, out of place here, but my sticks that I've got set up, I've got one in the back, and when I've got them square on the car, I've got a laser on this side and there's one on the other side. So I can get the laser set up with this mark, and there's a mark in the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. Around there. I've got a mark on the back as well. That way I can make sure everything's square. And then I can come in with this tiny little ruler. You can focus on that. And go front and back and see what the toe is. Camber, I'm using that steel plate with a angle finder. For let's see, you got caster, turn the wheel in 20 degrees, set the angle finder on here, zero it out, turn it out 20 degrees, and then you'll see what your caster angle is. So each side is at 6 degrees positive, which is, I think, probably a good spot. So I think that's good enough to go down the road. Front's pretty much done. Ride height in the back is next. It needs to go up just a little bit. Yeah, the back's still just a little bit low. So maybe I'll show raising the ride height. Super simple. And then oil change. And then maybe we'll go down the road.